Hello, my name is Marcus Warner. I write music for a living, and a big reason for that, and a big reason that I love it so much, is John Powell. Beginning his career in advertising music, John Powell is now an indispensable part of the film industry. From the brooding oboes and grungy beats of Jason Bourne to the mix of symphonic orchestra and gospel choir in his album Hubris, to of course the iconic sound of the original How to Train Your Dragon score, this man is a force of nature, and the reason I love orchestral music. You might be a fan of Hans Zimmer, and I understand, but I implore you to find this level of woodwind writing anywhere else, and just the inventiveness with different genres and Celtic melodies and...
My name's Hiccup.
I cannot stress this enough. It truly does not get more epic than this. I expect a lot of people watching probably already knew that, and if you didn't, you probably were able to guess just from the style of my music and what I love to make. But it wouldn't be an understatement to say that the soundtrack to How to Train Your Dragon changed the course of my life, and for that, I will be forever grateful. And now, 16 years later, John Powell is back at it again with this remake of How to Train Your Dragon, and I figured I would put on the new version of Test Drive, have a listen, and let you know my thoughts. Probably worth mentioning I have listened to this once already, and when I did, I realised that this was the prime opportunity for one of these YouTube reaction things. So let's see what our man JP has been cooking for us. I'm not a Spotify user, so let's go to YouTube. Test Drive JP.
How was it? Oh, he's dead.
I'm alive.
Okay, I'm not going to call him that again. Test Drive. As ever, scroll down through all the crap that YouTube gives you. One other thing to mention is I'm not Charles Cornell. There will not be an incredible breakdown of all of the harmony and contrapuntal melody going on. But I can talk about mixing and general feelings. So let's go with that. So already in these first few seconds, there's so much that's the same and yet so much that's different. Incredibly different feeling as a result. I have listened to the original track more times than I've had square meals, I suspect. It's not only been a massive source of inspiration for me over the course of my life, but also every time I've ever mastered an album, which is to say, finished it off, given it the final polish and EQ and stuff, I use the soundtrack of How to Train Your Dragon as a reference for what a good mix sounds like. So the second I heard this track for the first time, I was like, ooh, it's interesting the fact that because I've subconsciously embedded that tune into my brain so much, straight away we can hear so much difference. And I'm sure a lot of you out there noticed that we had this warm, thick sounding kick drum at the beginning, which originally was more of a light kind of texture, which put more emphasis on the second beat and fourth beat in each bar. So you'd have... Whereas now, we've got this nice fat on beat one, much more noticeable and gives it more of a pop kind of feel, I would say. Oh, and also that trombone buzz at the beginning there. I can imagine that when the folks came into the studio that day for the recording session, these people are as professional as it gets, but they must have been somewhat excited to play this tune. You can hear the trombones are holding on that. Just that extra bit longer than the original did. Great to hear that iconic string ostinato again. And that lovely little horn kind of response. I think that moment there in the piece is another that I absolutely adore, and it's the moment that I truly discovered the perfect fifth, which is an interval in music that sounds very open and kind of, I guess, regal and glorious sounding. To me, it signifies a beginning, and it's such a great way of ending what I would consider to be the introduction of the piece. Celtic and traditional music from Scotland and Ireland has always had a really special place in my heart ever since I heard Martin Bennett, I think. And hearing the Irish whistle in this piece, of course, is sublime. But what's great about it is that I think it's been brought up in the mix a little bit more, so it's a bit louder. And as a result, it might be my ears deceiving me, but it sounds like the performer is playing with a little bit more enthusiasm. And again with the brass, those swells in the background as well, just so bright and lush sounding. Like the dynamics have been sort of brought up from a fortissimo to a fortissimo. Yeah, so, and of course our main melody, which I think is the thing that we all remember from this soundtrack possibly the most. What is there to say? Again, this mix is sounding so lush and warm. Yeah, another bit of just incredible. Oh yeah, this is where the piece begins to deviate from the original. And of course, not having seen the movie yet, preludes the fact that the scene is different. And I haven't watched any DreamWorks videos since the initial trailer came out. So I don't know what happens in the scene, if they have put it up on YouTube already. But I have to say, it's intriguing to hear the difference and wondering what's going to happen in the film. Okay, so the drums skipped a beat at the end there, which means that the scary bit is about to happen. This is so intriguing to me because this is such a dramatic mood shift from the original. So this new sound is very much freezing a moment in time for me. Yeah, it sounds like we're going to get some extreme slow motion of something, thinking of the drawings he did of the foot positions. Musically speaking, it does break the rhythm of the piece a little bit, but how much of that is due to the fact that I've got the original so ingrained in my brain? I'll leave that to you to decide. I think John Powell has always loved the Mark tree. Those are the sort of chimey, tinkly things you can hear. Like, you've got to imagine like a bunch of little chimes hanging and someone's just currently doing that with them. So something is happening in the track that mirrors something in the film. Magical? Mystical? I don't know. I mean, I know dragons are quite mystical in and of themselves, but it does sound almost like someone who cast a magic spell. I definitely have a feeling that there's been some slow motion used in this scene, so we'll find out, I suppose. But for the time being... Okay, so we are now back into the development section. It's not sonata. I love the way that the bass drums mounted up in dynamics as that came in there. You heard them going boom, 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 boom. Just, you know, it's well timed when you can just like go like that and just hit the beat perfectly. And this is all sounding very familiar again, although I think I heard a little string flourish just there, which was really, really nice. May have not noticed it on the original, just due to the different mix. This section with these diminished chords. You need to stop using the words lush and rich and full. But there's no other way to describe it. Like, John Powell's orchestration is just so... lush. I just think he has such a great way of making the instruments bounce off of each other. There's never a moment when instruments are competing for space. It's always so well thought out and balanced, especially the playoff between the horns on the left and the trumpets on the right. All of it always works together. You never feel like any of the instruments are kind of treading on each other's toes, despite how much is happening, right, at this very moment. And it's just so good. Ooh, slightly different bit of trumpet playing there, I think. Oh, the bass line sort of ascending as the tension increases, and you hear them going dun 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 dun, and it's sort of like you don't even realize it at first when you hear the piece, but it just puts you on the edge of your seat. Imagine in the cinema, like the bass of this piece of music is probably reverberating through the bottom of the seat. And do you hear how it gets faster as well? So it's like, again, just another way of increasing the tension exponentially towards the moment of triumph. And again with those trombones and just the brightness of the buzzing. If anybody from that recording session is watching this video, just phenomenal sforzandos, guys. And of course our key change from D major up a note to E major. And it works just as well now as it did 16 years ago. Whew. He ended it a beat early. That's interesting. The original went dun 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 dun, whereas this one's going dun dun dun. A very tiny little difference. Presumably, I would imagine, due to the timing of the scene being slightly different.
Come on!
Yeah, what a terrific piece of music. I can't stress this enough. So life-changing for me, and has been inspiring me since I was... How old was I in 2009?
13 years old, I think.
From my very first piece of music, John Powell has always been a part of my life, and I have to say that having him revisit arguably the piece of music that put him on the map for a lot of us younger folks, lovely to hear it reimagined with a sort of fuller, warmer mix, I would say. A little bit more low end, a little bit more brass buzzing, and completely full of joy. And I hope you feel the same. It's clear at the very least that John Powell puts his heart and soul into everything that he does. And the film music industry and the music industry as a whole is all the better for it. So thank you very much for watching my live-ish reaction to Test Driving Toothless. It's been very fun listening to this iconic piece of music. And with any luck, hearing it in context will be an equally enjoyable experience. And if you're wondering about my thoughts as to DreamWorks making a remake of this movie,